Have you ever heard the saying that the winners write the history? After the democratic Greeks overthrew the authoritarian Persian Empire, the Greeks enjoyed a golden age that is widely seen as the beginning of the tenets that govern Western civilization. Don't forget to subscribe to Ancient History for fascinating insights into the mysteries of the ancient world and captivating historical narratives. The Greeks can rightfully be acknowledged for their beneficial contributions to human progress, since they're responsible for the development of democracy, mathematics, philosophy, art, and literature, among other crucial aspects of our daily life. But the way this story is framed warps the reality. Indeed, by today's standards, the Persians were perhaps much more sophisticated than the Greeks. We have a mild-mannered king in Cyrus the Great, who encouraged religious tolerance and mercy, rather than imposing cultural hegemony over conquered regions. We witness advancements in trade and business networks, as well as public works financing aimed at enhancing the quality of life for inhabitants. Slavery was the foundation of Greek society, but Persian emperors disapproved of the practice. Changing viewpoints to gain a deeper understanding is a constant process in historical studies. The works of the Greek historian and father of history, Herodotus, provided the basis for many preconceived notions about the Persians. The possibility of prejudice in this case is obvious to even the most casual history student. In light of this, let's examine the Persian Empire in more detail and try to start changing our viewpoint. Let's look at its beginnings first. The term Persian Empire describes a group of dynasties that had their center in what is now Iran and ruled for several centuries, starting in the 6th century BCE. It began somewhat simply, with a number of semi-nomadic tribes grazing sheep and goats throughout the Iranian plateau. From these modest beginnings, a leader known as Cyrus the Great, founder of the first phase of the Persian Empire, also known as the Achaemenid Empire, arose, who started subjugating neighboring tribes. Surprisingly, this empire grew to be extremely large, encompassing a large region that extended from the Balkans in the west to the Indus River in India in the east, and into the Nile River in Africa. We all know that it may be challenging to rule over large empires. History is replete with examples of poor leadership that ended in disaster. Cyrus understood that non-violent diplomacy, rather than tyranny, held the key to world peace. He established a unique system for ruling an empire in which the most advantageous aspects of conquered lands were transferred to other areas, fostering the development of superior new cultures. Persian culture did not need to be imposed on politically subservient areas. The most well-known instance of his kindness is when he set free the Jewish slaves in Babylon when Cyrus overthrew that power. Not only did he set them free, but he also paid for their return trip to Jerusalem and assisted in the reconstruction of their temple. Cyrus is honored in the Cyrus Cylinder, a relic bearing his ideas about toppling oppression. This is known as the first charter of human rights by the UN. The second notable personality of the Achaemenid Empire was Darius the Great, who was not too distant from Cyrus. In terms of the territory he ruled, the Persian Empire peaked under Darius. He aimed to bring the empire together by placing more of a focus on uniformity, while preserving the growth that had occurred under Cyrus's rule. Standardized weight, coinage, and measurement systems were implemented by the realm under Darius, and Aramaic was promoted as the official language. In addition, a large number of affluent merchants were produced by the construction of roads and transportation networks that promoted trade and commerce throughout the empire. How did the common citizen fare under these emperors' reigns? It's understandable that painting a full picture is challenging, yet our knowledge base is very large. Although Zoroastrianism was not the national religion, it is known that the Persians practiced a monotheistic faith. The rulers, named for the Persian prophet Zoroaster, adhered to these laws without claiming to be chosen by God. Perhaps the first religion to offer the idea of a fight between good and evil in life was Zoroastrianism, which also forbade slavery as a result of its morality. In some areas of Iran and India, Zoroastrianism is still practiced as a minority faith today. Compared to Greek society, Persian women had far greater freedoms. Women were not allowed to own property in the ancient Greek culture and frequently required an escort to leave their homes. In contrast, women in Persian culture were able to hold prominent positions in their professions, function as administrators, and frequently own property. Many of them had sizable estates. Regarding culture, we know that the Achaemenid Empire produced a wide range of excellent works of art, and that the conquest of new territories led to the adaptation of numerous cultural standards. Excavations at places like Persepolis, the ancient capital, demonstrate that Persians were extraordinarily skilled rock carvers who could create intricate relief sculptures. We have discovered evidence of expert metalwork at other archaeological sites, such as intricate carpet weaving methods, a golden chariot, and silver ornaments. All of this suggests a forward-thinking society that is adaptable and eager to blend cultures with every new piece of territory acquired. Many emperors throughout history are claimed to have followed the ideal model of a well-run land-based empire, which was supplied by the Persian Empire. Nevertheless, empires come and go. What caused the Persian Empire's initial incarnation to fall apart? History doesn't necessarily repeat, but it often rhymes, as Mark Twain once observed, and frequently it's an expensive conflict that acts as a trigger for decline. A failed invasion of Greece by the Persian Empire under Xerxes I in 480 BCE proved to be the equal of the Persian Empire. This much dramatized tale, which gained widespread popularity because of the 300 Spartans under Leonidas' miraculous victory at Thermopylae, isn't usually told truthfully. In actuality, thousands of soldiers from other Greek city-states were among the many more warriors that took part in this battle. Herodotus was right, though, when he pointed out this defense. Despite being vastly outnumbered, the Greeks dealt Xerxes' army terrible fatalities. In the end, Xerxes' expensive invasion of Greece was unsuccessful, and he had to spend more money defending Persia's territory, which reduced the empire's finances, which he attempted to restore by raising taxes. Alexander the Great's army brought down the Achaemenid Empire in 330 BC, which was the last nail in the coffin. Since the Achaemenid era was when the Persian Empire achieved its pinnacles, many histories of the empire center on this time. To comprehend how Persian culture affected later Islamic conquerors, it's necessary to look a little further into the variations that followed. The Islamic Golden Age followed as a result. It's important to take a step back and realize that history is not so simple, because historians frequently fabricate well-packaged historical periods and foundation tales. When an empire is subjugated, its customs and mindset don't just vanish. A picture of how Persian culture endures today in various countries can be created by charting the histories of subsequent dynasties. This includes the language, art, architecture, cuisine, and much more. Going back to the original assumption that Greek culture served as the foundation for Western civilization, we can see that historical evidence does not entirely support this theory. In many respects, life in 5th century Persia was really far more stable and forward-thinking. Beyond this remark, it's impossible to overstate the long-term influence that Persian culture had on Middle Eastern cultures. We must acknowledge Persia's historical and contemporary contributions to human progress, all the way up to Iran's recent scientific and technological advancements. There is much more to the story of progress than merely a Eurocentric narrative centered on the Greco-Roman era. That's all for this video. We'll be back soon with another informative video. Don't forget to like and share this video. To keep exploring ancient history together, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Until next time!